Very good morning to all you beautiful people. Well, my name is Ruben, and on behalf of Team Dentist Channel.online, I would like to welcome all of you for this live webinar on the topic Effective Use of Social Media for Patient Communication. I would also like to take this opportunity to welcome Dr. Ashwin, the speaker for today's webinar. Let me quickly give you a brief about Dr. Ashwin. Dr. Ashwin completed his BDS from Government Dental College and Research Institute in Bengaluru. Currently, he is pursuing MDS in periodontics from the Department of Periodontics at Krishna Devaraya College of Dental Sciences and Hospital, Bengaluru. I would also like to tell you a few of his key accomplishments. He has presented scientific papers in state and national conferences. He has research articles published in national and international journals. He is the recipient of the Best Outgoing Student Award from Government Dental College and Research Institute, Bengaluru, and Pierre Fauchard Academy International Senior Student Award in 2017 in recognition of academic, research, extracurricular, and social activities. He is the author of the book Dantagata, an e-book which was subsequently published and printed as Hallige Pettu, Rakshane Guttu, a book written in Kannada language on prevention and management of dental trauma. He is an active writer on oral and general health articles to various Kannada newspapers and magazines to create awareness on oral health. He has also participated in TV, Akashwani All India Radio, online media, and school programs as a speaker on oral health topics. Also, he's conducted school oral health camps. He has a special interest on reaching out to the general public through his writings and his awareness programs on oral health and dentistry. On behalf of Team Dentist Channel.online, Dr. Ashwin, I now welcome you and I request you to kindly proceed with the live webinar. Thank you.
Good morning. Very hearty thanks to you, Mr. Ruben, for the kind words. So a very good morning to all the viewers here through Dentist Channel Online. So today we are here for the webinar on the topic social media and dentistry connecting people. So I'm Dr. Ashwin PS. I completed my BDS in GDCRI and then currently I'm pursuing my post-graduation in Krishna Devaraya College. So in this moment, I would like to thank my teachers from my first institution, that is GDCRI, who have shaped me and guided me till now, and the current institution where my wonderful department and my HOD and other teachers who have really blessed and wished me for this webinar. So I thank all of them, and with their wishes and blessings, I would like to proceed with the presentation now. So these are the contents that I'm going to deal with today. Initially, I'll give a Indian scenario of social media, and then how we can utilize social media in healthcare, and then about various social media platforms and their applications, and then the posts, different types of posts that we can do in social media and their engagement rate. And then I'll speak a little on content creation, then the hashtags, then e-professionalism and ethical concerns. And then at the end of the presentation, I'm giving you some 8 mantras that I would call it as Ashta mantras for using social media in our dental practice. So friends, let's move on. So before going to the presentation, we have a poll here for you all. I request Mr. Siddiq to run the poll for me.
Yes.
Okay, dear all, please take this poll. First question is, are you on social media? Just you can tick yes or no. Can you all see it?
I hope poll screen on your screen.
Yeah, poll screen is on the screen. So
Yeah.
dear participants, please click on the answers.
It's going on.
Okay.
40 seconds left.
Okay. So I hope all of you answered for the poll.
Yeah, yes, I can see like people are answering.
Okay. This is just to take an idea how you are using the social media. So just for an orientation. If the results are out, let's proceed, Mr. Sati.
Yeah, just a minute.
Yeah.
80% of people are voted. 20
Okay.
more percent is left.
Okay. Okay. So we are all locked down in this situation. So maybe this is the occasion for us to refocus and learn something new in this situation, because yeah, definitely we are not allowed to go out and we cannot practice or do something related to dental treatments in this moment. So maybe we are all waiting for everything to roll back to the normalcy. Hope soon.
It's to 90% people are voted.
Okay.
92. In another few seconds, I'll be ending the poll.
Okay, okay, okay. So let's wait for the report, how the trend on social media is.
I'll be ending the poll.
Okay. Okay, so the result is on screen. Yeah, I can see that 98% of you all are using social media. That's good. And then it's almost 63 in relation to Facebook and Instagram. Okay, so I think almost there are almost same number of participants in Facebook and Instagram. And then are you all well versed? Yes, most of you are well versed. That's good. So LinkedIn, yeah, many are no, many are yes. Okay, so most of them prefer to use social media for the dental practice. That's good. So I think we can continue with the presentation. Thank you all for answering and participating in the. So I'll move on, Siddiq.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Please continue.
Yeah. So now here I'd like to give a brief on how Indians are using social networking sites. So you can see this picture of evolution, right? So initially we had emails. Since the late 90s, India had become part of digital world. So since then, in a past survey in 2018, it says that there are around 460 million internet users in India. So coming to social networking in India, it all started with Orkut. Google started the social networking thing in India, and then it get expanded over to other social networking giants like Facebook, Twitter, and others, and that has become a part of everyday life in today's scenario. So in India, Orkut was one of the first big social networking sites. Going back to our school days or college days, maybe we all had an account in Orkut, right? So for some reasons, it was stopped later, but then we have moved on to Facebook, Instagram, and others in today's day. So let us see how Indians are using Facebook. So I think we need to be proud for this also. India tops in many things in the world. So here in a report as per January 2020, we have around 260 million users for Facebook in India. So that gives you an estimate how people are using social media, the general public. And Facebook claims that it has over 2.4 billion users worldwide. Okay, and then it was found that 98% of the active Facebook user accounts, they access it through their smartphones. So smartphones has become an increasingly common platform for the use of social media. And then it is noted that people spend an average of 35 minutes per day on Facebook. Maybe now due to lockdown, it may be few hours or maybe a complete day. We never know. But that is how people use social media. Coming to Instagram, here we have second place. That is US takes over India in this. So we have around 80 million Instagram users in India, and it is one of the most popular social networking sites worldwide, especially among the youth, because Instagram is mainly based on photographic contents and celebrity following and brand following. So people keep following their icons, maybe from Bollywood, cricket, or any other field. So that is how Instagram works. So coming to other aspects, why there is such a surge in use of social media? It's because the data packs are getting more and more cheaper these days. So internet is accessible for every common man. And as I said before, smartphones are increasingly becoming the primary screen for Indians to use social networking sites. So what is the take-home message from these facts is that, so definitely we need to have, being the dental professionals or being the oral healthcare professionals, we need to have our presence in social media, because the public are in social media, so they are definitely going to search for us. And the entry of WhatsApp into India's digital market, it has really boosted the application usage, and it doesn't restrict for any cities or towns. It's even there in all the rural areas, so it has a wider reach and it's widely used in everyday life. So coming to, since I said that we need to have a social media presence, so how can we use it? How can we utilize it for our healthcare purpose? So here I have categorized into four broad categories. Mainly, we can use it to raise awareness, and then we can use it to answer common questions, or more importantly, more responsibly, we can use it to combat misinformation, because there are so many people sitting out there spreading fake messages in WhatsApp or any social media. So being a responsible healthcare professionals, why can't we combat the misinformation and give right information to the public? So that even helps to our practice as well, right? So then we can use social media for citizen engagement as well. So now I'm going to elaborate each point. So how can we raise awareness using social media? Social media is one of the key way to raise public awareness regarding any new emerging or annual health concerns. Like we are having a pandemic right now. So definitely, when it started, we all were using social media to access to all the data which is being published by WHO or any other organization. So that way, we can also use those data to give it to our followers. So here you see one Instagram post from Mayo Clinic. So what it has done, it has just given a small article on exercising. So we can use social media to remind our followers that regarding some common health practices in their day-to-day life. If we are applying it to our profession, yes, then we can remind our patients to brush their teeth, maybe using any oral hygiene aids. So they are simple things, but maybe it will create some impact in some population. So that's how we can use to raise awareness in regarding the day-to-day hygiene practices, or maybe anything like that. And then here you can see one post. It's a Facebook post from For a Happy Smile. It's a page run by me. So what I have done is I have directed my followers to by sharing a data on WHO. So WHO had shared a post in its Facebook page. So what I did is I shared the data to my Facebook page. So that way we can direct our followers to some credible sources. Not every time we need to create contents and posts. We can also direct the post from some credible sources. So that also gives credible information to our followers. So this way we can use social media to raise concern, raise awareness. And in further slides, I'm definitely going to speak on how the content should be and other things. So the next thing is misinformation. Yes, that is the elephant in the room. So we need to combat that. Here you can see one example. Here there's a tweet from Stanford University. So when this COVID outbreak happened, there was some misinformation where someone quoted maybe some tweets or some news. They quoted Stanford University, and they were spreading some false information. So what did Stanford University do? They came out and they said that whatever such news, it's fake, and they have directed their followers that this is the right information. So this way, it need not be any institution, it can be any individual also. If we find some misinformation in spreading around social media, we can cite some published research or some latest health information from credible health sources. Maybe may it be CDC or WHO or ICMR or whichever. Like in India, we have National Health Portal also. National Health Portal is run by Government of India in Facebook and other social media. So there they give some proper credible information. So that way we can cite some published research or latest information from the credible source and combat the misinformation. And there, one more example is PIB fact check. PIB is the public information broadcasting of Government of India. So what they have done, some news, it was claiming that exposure to high temperatures prevents COVID-19. So that is not true, right? So they have quoted some credible source and they have combated the misinformation. So, being responsible healthcare professional, it's our duty to combat misinformation so that the followers and patients, the general public, remain informed. Because the idea of social media, and social media by their very nature, it helps to spread information quickly to diverse groups of people. That's its important feature. But when it is not used properly, then it is not going to do any help. So we always should need to go with fact-based and helpful and clear news so that the followers have right information. And then the next section is answering common questions. We can have a Facebook page or Instagram page or whatsoever, any social media page, and we can prepare some FAQs, the frequently asked questions. Like in our practice, we may talk about implants, we may talk about root canal treatment, we may talk about any aesthetic procedures, maybe it may be tooth whitening. So in the initial appointment or when we meet the patient for first time, they may not be 100% convinced with whatever we say. So they will definitely go back and check. So if we have a social media page and if we have a particular FAQ section for different categories, then definitely they will automatically they'll get answers for their common questions. So such things can be made. Here I am showing one example by MyGov India. You all know that MyGov India is one organization under Government of India. So they have created a chatbot in Facebook Messenger. So if any person enters that chatbot and enters their details, so it will address them. It's an automated message created by them. So it will, here they have given an example of Corona because that is an ongoing thing now. So if any person enters that, it gives common questions and answers for that. So creating a chatbot for our page, it may not be possible by ourselves. Maybe we'll need some expert technician help for that. Maybe the freelancers or someone else who has expertise in doing this chatbot, because creating a chatbot is not so directly possible. We'll need some technical help in that. So this way we can also use social media for answering the common questions on common conditions that we come across in our daily practice. And this is one more thing, that is citizens engagement. Here you can see one poster that was issued from Federation Dentaire International, FDI. So it has declared March 20th as World Oral Health Day. Recently we celebrated it, right? So what they had done to engage the citizen, because the primary focus of World Oral Health Day is to raise awareness in a global level. So what they did, they created a pledge generator in their site, and they asked the citizen to take some pledge on common things. Like here you can see, I pledge to brush my teeth even when I'm tired. I pledge to keep my mouth healthy throughout my life. So such kind of things. It may not be very practically possible for us to have a website and ask them to generate some pledge. I'm just giving some idea. Maybe we can use our social media and ask our followers to do some tasks. Like we can ask them to brush nicely and post a selfie with smiles, and we can give some activity to them so that they are engaged in our page. In that way, we can ask them to follow some simple things, maybe about brushing, maybe about maintaining hygiene, or something like that. So that way we can engage them and keep them informed. So here we can do it in many forms. We can ask them to post a video, selfies, or whatsoever, and then we can just to encourage them, we can tell that 10 best selfies or 10 best posts, 10 creative posts will be featured in our page. Such things can be done to engage so that they will also feel happy. So here's one social media campaign given by European Federation of Periodontology. Yes, I'm a perio person now, so definitely I'm going to promote my subject. So March 12th is celebrated as Gum Health Day. So I'm just running this video for you all. So that's to get an idea how we can use videos to create awareness. So just watch this video. So say no to bleeding gums is a simple message. That is what they are going to convey through this gum health day this year. That is the theme for this year. So we can use different ways to motivate our patient and keep them engaged. Yeah, that is one way of doing it. So let me proceed now. So I'll just brief on this social media and doctor-patient relationship. I took this data from one of the study which is published recently. So what it says that using social media can result in shift in power balance and increased quality of decision making. By using social media or the website or the information what is given in internet, patients may increasingly interact with us and involve in decision making regarding any treatments. So what happens because of this is quality of decision making may be enhanced. That is when, because they are also informed. Maybe we speak about implants today, they may not be totally convinced. So once they go back, they'll see some implant procedures, some videos in the internet, or they may see some brands or something like that related to implant in internet. And when they come back, definitely they will have more options to us. They may ask us for a different procedure. They may ask about grafting. They may ask about bone loss. So lots of things they'll ask. So that is how this can make the patient informed and make them very clear and confident about the treatment plan what we explain to them. So this way decision making process can be enhanced, but there's a very thin line here. Maybe I can call it as a double-edged sword, because sometimes some patients, they'll go back and they'll find so much information, they'll take a second opinion, they'll do lots of things, lots of research from their end, lots of homework from their end, and they'll come back with unnecessary information. So that time we'll have some challenging time being the healthcare professional, because they might bring some irrelevant information also. So we'll have to sit back and sort what is relevant, what is not irrelevant. So in this process, it is possible for healthcare professionals to resist this shift in the balance of power. But what we need to understand is that if we don't participate in the right spirit when they come back to us, that we might lose some patients, because we cannot stop them, right? We cannot stop internet, because people keep posting things, and the patients also will keep searching, they'll also do their research. So if they're not satisfied with our decision, they might go back. So such time it is our duty to sit back and convince them what is right, what is wrong, what is better, what is not, and how it can be customized for them. So that way we can engage the patient and enhance the doctor patient relationship. So I think this is one important aspect of social media in keeping the doctor patient relationship healthy. So it's in our hands how to take it. So moving on, we have various social media platforms, like we have LinkedIn, we have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and a lot more. So if you ask me where all we should have accounts, I would say we should have accounts, parallel accounts in at least 3 or 4 of them, where which are trending, because patients are using those. The patients, in the sense, the general public are using LinkedIn, they are using Facebook, their Twitter. So we should have the right audience. We cannot sit back in some outdated app and say that I'm there in this, all of you come to me. It's not possible, because we need to go out and be there and have presence in all the medias. So let me just brief out what are the different types of posts we can do in Facebook. All of you, whoever, I see that 98% of them are using social media. So definitely you are all aware of this. I'm not going to elaborate much on this, but just to have a brush up. So how can we post on Facebook? We can post some text like this, like how many cups of coffee. This is just an example. So we can just have some text, or we can give some link to some of the website, may it be our own blog or website, or it can be some external websites, or we can post some photos. Yes, photos have good engagement. Photos can be single photos, or you can make it as an album, and then we can post videos. Videos, it can be of very short length, or we can, if it is something procedure or something like that, larger video is also possible in Facebook. And then the Facebook story, it's a kind of perishable post. Perishable in the sense, after 24 hours, it's going to disappear. So there's no record of it. But it is also highly engaged, because even in stories, you can post text, you can post photos, you can post short videos. So all these things are possible in story also. So people are very busy these days. Maybe they may not scroll down, but they'll see the story what is appearing in the top of their screen. So that is also one of the good way of posting in Facebook. Then we can do live videos. Like as I'm talking now, we are live on this Zoom app, but parallelly we are live on YouTube and Facebook as well. So this way we can go live and also use it for posting some videos. Then coming to Instagram, in Instagram we have photos and we can post short videos as posts. And then for the lengthier videos, I think more than 2 minutes, it will ask us to post it in Instagram TV. So we have an option called Instagram TV in Instagram. So there we have some features. We can categorize the videos. Like here in this example, I had done one informational video using Dentist Channel Online. So what we have done is, it was an oral health awareness video. So there I have categorized it under heading called oral health awareness. And then further on, if I do any other awareness videos, I can post it as different episodes under this. So we can have a proper category. So anyone who search for oral health awareness, maybe this video will pop up if it is followed much. So this way also we can post good videos in Instagram. The lengthier videos will go for Instagram TV. So that is one feature. And then in Instagram, the popular form of post is the stories. Even in stories, as I said, you can post photos, you can post text, and even the live videos. You can go live in Instagram as well. So they are the different types of posts in Instagram. Coming to Twitter, Twitter is mainly about current trends. Like you can post into Twitter as well. You can see one example here from IDA, Indian Dental Association. What they have done, they have done a camp, and then they have posted the photo with some small text there. So that is how you can post in Twitter also. But Twitter has some specifications, like you cannot tweet more than 280 characters. Previously it was around 140. Now they have increased it to 280 characters. So you have some limitations there, and you can use Twitter to give information to your followers. And preferably you can keep your Twitter account public, because whatever information you're going to post there, maybe it is seen by larger audience. Because Twitter is in Twitter you cannot definitely predict, because it goes on the current trends. Like morning people may be speaking about corona, afternoon they may speak about some state or some celebrities or some movies. So the trend changes in hours. If a trend has to stay for the whole day, then definitely there should be lots of tweets on the same topic. So Twitter mainly runs on hashtags and other things. So those things I'll explain to you about hashtags in further coming slides. So in Twitter, you can post, then a share word, the word share, what we do in Facebook, right? So here we have a synonymous thing called as a retweet. So you can retweet if someone has done there. So here you have an example, Federation International, FDI. What it has done, it has retweeted the tweet from Oral Health Foundation. So you can retweet some credible information also. You can retweet just like that, or you can retweet with the comment also. And even you can post some short videos in Twitter. So that way you can use Twitter for giving information, and also to participate in any social media campaign that is running around. So you can just search for what is trending, and if you like, you can participate in that. And then coming to YouTube channel, if you ask me, should we have a YouTube channel? Yes, definitely you should have a YouTube channel. Why? Because YouTube is mainly taken care by Google. So if you have done some videos and posted in YouTube, may it be about some procedures, may it be about root canal, may it be about implants, or may it be about any informational video. If you have done something and if you have uploaded it in YouTube, if someone searches in Google with relevant key terms, maybe your video will pop up there. So that way, maybe if a patient has come today, and if he goes and search for some topic there, and if we have done something related to that, it might pop out, and the patient might feel good that the doctor is having a channel and giving information here also. So the rate of convincing might increase by having videos in YouTube channel as well. So this channel is YouTube is very widely used because people keep watching in YouTube. Whatever procedures we explain, definitely they'll have some anxiousness and fear in them. So definitely they'll go back and see in YouTube if there are any similar procedures being done. So this way, it is very convenient place to steer your patients when there is a question about your offices and services. You can also post some small video about your dental clinic, not boasting that this is the best clinic or something like that, just giving an outlook of how your services are, what are the facilities available. Such things can be done using YouTube. So it's also a potential media where you can have accounts and do it. And one more important thing, whatever you post in YouTube, you can share that link to all the medias. You can share it in any medias like WhatsApp. You can share the link through any other social media. So that will give a better visibility for your videos and better attention. So moving on to the next one, that is LinkedIn. LinkedIn was once thought to be a platform for job hunting, but now it is not so. LinkedIn is one of the world's largest professional network, and it has around 100 million people. So just think about this, because many people, maybe the patients who come to us, they are all using LinkedIn because many are in various professions. So most of the professionals use LinkedIn because there is different ways where you can post about your ideas, knowledges. There are different avenues, because you can get some job opportunities as well. Because as I said previously, it was being used for job hunt. Yes, even now it is used, but it has all the features like Facebook. You can post a video there. You can post photos there, links there. Everything can be done using LinkedIn as well. But it's mainly a professional network. But how do we take this to our oral healthcare, and what are the patient implications? So from a patient perspective, what we can do with using LinkedIn is we can prove our credibility there, because there are different sections where we can upload our experience, we can upload about our education qualifications, we can put our professional achievements and other skills and things what we have, whatever we have. So now just think of any search engine. If a patient sees some name on a board, or he comes to you and he goes back and puts your name in a search engine like Google. So if you have an account in LinkedIn, maybe your name will pop up in the first 10 listings. So if you are, so that way the patient will find for some credible information about us, because anyone who is going out for surgeries, or anyone who is going out for some procedure, they will definitely cross check about the credibility and our professional accomplishment and our experiences in web media. So this way, LinkedIn can be used to have an online presence and build one online reputation for our practice and individual as well. And then by having a presence, maybe our job prospects also may get better, because people are continuously, the companies are continuously searching for right candidates for their company. So that way also we might gain some visibility. And then if we need some experts for our help, may it be the dental hygienist or anyone, or anything related to dental, or may it be for some other purpose. For example, if we need a social media manager, we can go out and search for freelancers. We can search for companies who are doing this. Like Dentist Channel Online is one of the media where it is going to offer the dentist to perform better in websites for digitalization of dentistry. So that way we can find people in LinkedIn for our purpose as well. So that way we owe a lot to our practice staff and our patients by having such credible information in the internet. So coming to ResearchGate, it is one of the academic social networking sites. So what we can do is most of the researchers, most of the people who are there in academics are definitely I'm very sure that all are in ResearchGate, because they upload their researchers here, they upload their publications. Additionally, ResearchGate is very user friendly, and you can even here you can upload all your accomplishments. If you have attended a conference, if you have done a paper presentation, poster presentation, anything can be uploaded here, and you can have an online record of all your academic accomplishments. So this way also, coming to patient perspective, this may not be so 100% helpful, but if there are some very learned patients, if there are very hi-fi patients you have in your setup, definitely if they search, ResearchGate and LinkedIn are linked. So if you have a presence in ResearchGate, again your name may pop up with your ResearchGate account. So if someone clicks, they can see all your academic accomplishment, they can see all your research. So again, this increases your professional credibility, and this gives you a better visibility in an online platform. So it's better to have all these accounts and have a social presence. So coming to WhatsApp, we are all using WhatsApp. For running, you can, because most of the times doctors don't prefer to reveal the personal numbers. So in that case, you can give out a clinic number, or any a second number which you used to give to your patient. So using that, this account can be made. And as you can see, this is an advertisement given by WhatsApp. So they are featuring Sandra's cakes. I'm not promoting any cakes here, but I'm just telling that you can have a section. There is a section in WhatsApp Business where we can give a short briefing about your clinics, and then you can upload the location that which is linked to Google Maps, and then you can show the sector what your health that is held, and then you can upload the timings, you can upload the catalog means we need not reveal our rates and the treatment charges. We can just have a catalog where we can list the types of treatments and services available. You can upload it in any language, you can upload photos as well, like how it is shown here. So this is the way you can use WhatsApp also for social networking with patients. Coming to Google Business, I'm very sure people who are practicing in cities definitely have their clinics listed in Google Maps, right? Because anything we can search in Google and navigate through maps now. But there is an app called Google My Business. So by having this app, again, you can link your clinic to the map. Then you can share accurate information about the services available. So this also helps in giving online presence. Definitely, if your clinic is listed here, if someone searches in Google, definitely that clinic link, the address, timings, everything is going to pop up there. So that also gives a better visibility for practice. So this way, these are the different social media avenues that we can use in our dental practice. Coming to different types of posts and their engagement, uh, videos and photos definitely have better engagements. Some of the researchers say photos get more interaction, some of them say videos get more interaction. So if it is video, then the optimal length for an awareness video or something like that should be anything between 3 to 5 minutes. Because if we post a very long video, the attention span of people are not so much. So they're definitely going to end it in between. So while making some videos, definitely it should be within 3 to 5 minutes. And the researchers say that the strongest content of your video, what you want to convey, it should come in the first few seconds, because many of them are not going to watch the whole video. That is the truth. And one more thing about videos is that many people, they will be traveling, they may be in office. So in between, they might watch some videos. And most of the times, they don't switch on the audio. They would like to watch it without audio. So that way, if we put captions below, that is really going to increase the engagement. This is also one of the tip and trick related to videos. And then coming to the textual post, the text, whatever we put in Instagram or Facebook, the text actually have very less number of interactions, because that is not so attractive. But definitely we need to use textual messages sometimes to give some information about the closure or opening of something, or some urgent information. While posting a textual message, you ideally, if it needs good engagement, then they say that the total number of characters should be within 250 characters. The length should be less, it should not be more. So even if it is below 80 characters, then it is well and good, because it says that there is 66% more chances of engagement for such posts. If you are posting some article, if you are a writer and if you have followers, definitely they're going to read it. But ideally, textual post has less number of interaction compared to photos, so you can keep it less as much as possible. Coming to this is interesting, because the engagement rates for your post, they say it is more on Thursdays and Fridays, or some studies say it is on the weekends, because people are quite free, or towards the weekend they are bored in their office, so they tend to go on social media and just browse something. So the engagement rates towards the end of the week is 18% higher. So when we post something awareness videos, something, if we need to get better attention, then better we keep all these tips and tricks and follow them. And every social media, it has an algorithm. It runs based on some algorithm. So here I'm just giving one basic idea on Instagram algorithm. So in Instagram, the stories are a great way to interact and engage with the audience, because as I said, people see the stories more. And when you're posting some photos or videos, it's always we need to hold their attention. Even swiping through Instagram photos is considered for engagement rate, so that gives a better engagement rate and better relevance for that. So post some short videos or carousel photos, maybe 2 or 3 photos together. So that will also hold the attention of the viewers. And then in Instagram, people use hashtags. We see people randomly use hashtags sometimes. Hashtag we, hashtag me, hashtag family, hashtag love. So that is not the way it works. Hashtag works in a particular algorithm. And also, if a post has lots of hashtags, if it is more than 9, it may not have so much engagement. It is said that it is better to keep your hashtag minimal, maybe around 3 to 9. So this is what the studies say, but it entirely depends on your followers and how they like it. So you can always modify your post and all these tips and tricks related to how it works for you. And when you're posting something on Instagram, better post it in all the types of formats. Post it as a story, post it as a photo, post it in, if it is a video, post it in Instagram TV, and so on. So that will also give a better sense of connect, and it will go deeper to the viewers. Then here I'm sharing one study where it has some interesting results. So the study results say 77% of the patients, they have given the number out of 515 participants in that study, 399 patients, they expected that their dental practice to have a website. So what does this mean? People expect us to have a website and online presence. And then they also went on to say the 79% of the patients said that the dental surgeries or the hospitals or the clinics, they should have an online presence of any sort, may it be social media or website. But the easier way is social media, because many people are using it. And we need to know where the patients are. They are using Twitter, they are using Instagram, they are using LinkedIn, they are using Facebook. So we, to be relevant to the current time, yes, we need to have presence in all these medias. And regarding to Facebook's page, what do the patients see? What do they see first? They see our qualification. So that is the most important content to be displayed in any social media. In the about section, you should put the proper qualifications and other things, so that people find us genuine. And then they also see for positive reviews, they see for any awards and accomplishment, and they also value more for the original content. So all these things are to be kept in mind when we are using social media. Moving on to the content creation. So how do we create a content? So to begin with, being beginners, if one wants to have a Facebook page for the clinic or individual, because doctors can come under a public figure sector of pages. So that way also we can maintain a page or in clinic name or any other name, just to give awareness. So to begin with, you can use simple tools like PowerPoint. You can have a, because I know that most of the dentists are very creative, because we participate in lots of conferences, we make posters, so lots of things we do. So definitely you all know how to make a poster. So you can use simple tools like PowerPoints and other editing applications to begin with. And then when you're using any photos or videos from the internet, you definitely need to acknowledge sometimes, because sometimes there might be copyright issues. So you need to check the source before you download and use it or reuse it. So you should check for the reuse rights. And while doing some posts, be very creative. Don't keep it very bland, don't keep it very ugly, keep it colorful, use infographics, use animations, short videos or something like that. And also, if you're good in writing, you can have a blog, or you can have a social media account where you can put small posts, writings about any treatment or something like that. So when doing this, you need to keep in mind about the SEO methods. SEO means search engine optimization. So all these things are a little technical aspects of contents. So if yeah, definitely, being a health professionals, we are busy thinking about the patients, busy thinking about the treatment aspects. We are expecting it to run good. Definitely content is the king. I repeat that. Content is the king. So that way we can outsource some experts. Yes, our code of ethics says we are not supposed to hire an external agency to canvas for us. I'm not saying take a marketing agency. I'm not saying that. Take experts from the field where they can create better contents. Like you direct them. You can tell them, I need a post on dental implants like this. I'm giving you this information. Make it as creative as possible and give me back. So that can be done. So I think Dentist Channel Online is also planning for such a digital package to dentists where they are ready to go out and produce some quality contents for the dentist, not in a marketing way, not for any marketing purpose or canvassing for patients, but just to create good contents from credible sources so that we have good contents online, because people are doing lots of misinformation and people are spreading fake. So why can't we make a good one? Why can't we make credible information and post? So that is the idea behind that. So who is our main audience when we are doing all this when we are having a web presence? Who should be our main audience? Yes, sometimes we target our fellow colleagues to showcase our cases or something like that. Yes, that is also equally important because we need positive appraisals from our fellow colleagues. We need to discuss and have better knowledge about that, because time to time we need to keep updating our knowledge. What works better for one may not work for others, so we need to keep exchanging our ideas. So that way, yes, our fellow colleagues is also our target audience. But more importantly, I would say we should go with the 3:1 ratio. The most of the 75% of our audience should be the general public, because they are going to come to us, they are going to see our information. So that way I suggest that we should go with the 3:1 ratio with regard to our audience. So most of our posts should target the general public. And this is the hashtag era. As I said regarding hashtag, hashtag was initially started in 2007. I have put the first ever hashtag used here. So it was used by Twitter initially in 2007. So this was the first ever post with hashtag, they say. So what does hashtag do? It aggregates all the social media content with the same hashtag. So that way, all the tweets related to that hashtag get together, and it give, if someone presses that hashtag, it will give all the tweets, it will give all the posts related to that hashtag. So it is also one way to show support for social issues. And we can run campaigns like I said about Oral Health Day. They had given two hashtags, a primary hashtag and a secondary hashtag. So what did it do? They had given hashtag World Health, Oral Health Day. So every dentist or everyone who is posting about that will get tweeted in one particular section, and any day we can use that hashtag to see all the posts out there. So that way also we can create some trends and help to spread the information. So here the basic idea is to engage more audience using Twitter, because these days hashtags can be used in Facebook, hashtags can be used in Instagram, it can be used in LinkedIn as well. But I see people using hashtag in WhatsApp status. That is not going to make any sense, because that is of no use. Because in WhatsApp you cannot press a hashtag and do that, because hashtag is not applicable in WhatsApp. So using hashtag in WhatsApp doesn't make any sense. It's going to make sense only when it is used in the right platforms like Twitter, most probably in Twitter and then also in Instagram. And as I said, don't string too many words together. Don't keep the hashtag too complicated, because it's not possible to use every time. If you are asking someone to post something related to that hashtag, and if you are asking to use them that hashtag, it should be easy for that person. So don't string too many words together, and just try to see that particular day what hashtag is trending. And if you want to run a campaign, then take some days, use some days before. Like if you want to trend something tomorrow, take some 4 or 5 days before itself, and then spread that hashtag to everyone and ask them to spread it among everyone so that that trends. So we need to always keep up with the relevant and specific hashtags, and limit the number of hashtags you use, that I already mentioned there, right? So friends, take a deep breath. We are almost through there, almost halfway through. Yes. Now let me talk something about the social contract and the ethical issues concerned with the use of social media. Till now we focused on contents and the importance of having social media presence and different platforms. So I hope I made some sense by speaking that. Most of you may be aware of all these things, but it was just an attempt to brush up on what are the important things while using social media. So coming to social contract or the ethical issues, yes, our healthcare profession is one of the dignified profession in the society. So we run on ethics. We should have accountability. We should have principles. We should have our integrity, and we should maintain the values. So what is social contract? It is the position what is conferred on the profession by the society for us. So we have to represent that profession in a right way, and we should uphold the norms, values, and the behavior. So uh, we have been using the term professionalism. So when we come to social media, let me say we'll call it as e-professionalism. So someone has coined this term as e-professionalism. So what does this mean is that we need to follow some values when we are using social media, because there is blurring of boundary between public and private spheres when we are using social media. So social media content also can color our personal and professional reputation. Please remember, when we are using social media, we are leaving a digital footprint. I repeat this word, digital footprint, because whatever we do online, the world is watching. We never know who has seen the post, who has seen our things. Though we might have, if we have kept it private, yes, then good. If we have kept our post public, and if we have post something irrelevant, definitely the world is going to watch. So that doesn't mean that we should not have a private space. Being a professional, it doesn't mean that we should not do anything funny or something like that. We can have a private space for that. And then using social media, there is danger of self expression in social media. Maybe if you post something negative, if you post something negative related to any patient or any detail, yes, that is also going to harm the profession. And it's always very important to maintain the patient data very confidential in multimedia world. So let me give some instances here. First, let's go to some bad instances. Let's take Dr. X. If the Dr. X uses his personal account and page to communicate with his patients and post health information related updates, what do you think about this? I say this is bad, because we need to have a bifurcation between your private and public account. So it is better, I say, Dr. Yes uses a separate Facebook page or an account to communicate with his patients and post information and updates. So that is why how we can bifurcate between the private and the social space. And then let's take another example. Let me go to the bad instance. Dr. Y posted in their post that had my worst day in the hospital today. There were screaming kids and even annoying parents. So these kind of negative posts, yes, that may be our feeling after a busy day. Maybe we are tired or we may be frustrated with something, but we cannot show it in a public space like that. It can be better put in a simple way, like we can put it was a busy day or it was a stressful or long day. So that way we need to maintain some kind of professionalism when we are in a social media. This is one more example. So let me give the wrong thing first. So the Dr. X has Facebook page and it has public settings. The post, whatever he posts, it has public setting. In the privacy setting, if you go, you can keep your post to very limited people, to your close friends. You can make groups of people to whom the post should be visible. So if it is kept public, and then some of your friends, so what has happened here is Dr. X attended a birthday party, and some photographs were taken there. So Dr. S was having some tequila shots, and in the nightclub he was handing some beer bottle. So such photos were there, and even there was photos where Dr. X was sleeping with a beer bottle, and then on social media someone has commented that was a great night with the hangover and something. I'm not against drinking. I'm not about drinking. Please don't think like that. I'm just giving one instance where these kinds of things might harm the reputation of the profession. So if you want to post something like that, if you want to have a private space, yes, definitely everyone has their right to express themselves. But please have a private account and a public account. So you can post all things for private, uh, all these parties and other personal things in the private space, and post it to your private audience. For patients, yes, please don't allow them to enter to your private space, because that can harm your reputation in online platform. So that is one thing where we need to maintain the professionalism. Then if you see this post, how this person has tweaked the photos. First section you can see in the left hand side, this is a false claim of pre and post photographs. Someone has done some orthognathic or orthopedic treatment, I guess. So how they have depicted here, this is a photoshopped image and they have shown a better thing. So that is not correct. So tweaking photos is not at all ethical, not at all ethical. So we always need to post pre and post photographs in the way it is. And very importantly, this is information, private information belonging to the patient. So if you are posting any private information related to patient, you need to have an informed consent. If there is no consent, if the patient has not given any consent, yes, then please don't force them or don't use such data to publish in web media, because that can end up in trouble in later days. If the patient finds it offending, definitely they're going to complain on us, and that is going to cause a big issue for any dental practice or anyone. So this is a known fact, but I'm just emphasizing in respect to social media, because this way the videos or the photos can go viral, and it can mislead also, because this is giving a misleading picture, because patient may come with a greater expectation. That is not true. So we need always give the truth and follow the consent and other ethical norms whatever have been prescribed to us, so that we don't end up in some trouble. So I'm coming to the almost to the end of the thing. So as I said, I'm giving you some 8 mantras. I would call it as Ashta mantras. So these are the mantras you should keep in your mind while you're using social networking sites for your dental practice, or maybe in your profession. So first thing is content credibility. Post credible contents. Be very credible with your contents. Be very clear. Post truth. And if possible, as I said, cite some researchers, cite some things. So if you're writing some post, if you're writing some articles in social media or anything, just double verify that whatever you're posting is correct. Because if someone finds it is not credible, someone criticizes it, it's again bad to the reputation and the profession. So that way, be very credible with the content. And then legal concerns. Legal concerns is, we have Dental Council of India, we have Indian Dental Associations. So we have our associations which has given us clear-cut norms. Recent in 2014, they issued a revised code of ethics. So please go through that. There are specific norms about advertisements and other things. But I personally recommend and personally request the higher authorities and the higher fraternity, please to look into add any special sections on social media when it is revised next time, so that we can have a clear-cut guideline so that people don't misuse it. Because these days we see some of the corporate setups misusing social media to attract patients. That is not correct. So that way, I think I request the higher authorities to form a special regulations on special section on social media also. So that is the legal concern. So we need to stick on to whatever rules has been given. So whatever I said now, we are going through a right way, because we are allowed to have an advertisement, but keeping up with the decorum of the highest decorum of the profession. No way there should be any damage to the reputation. So that is what it has been clearly mentioned in the code of ethics. So that way, legal concerns is very important. And then networking practices. Please don't network with your patients using private accounts, as I said that. So use a public account. That is one more thing. Then coming to patient care. When we have social media accounts, some anonymous, some patient who has not come to the clinic or who has not met in person might contact in social media. So when the person or the patient is contacting through social media that way, it is better we don't give 100% consultation there. We can just give some general ideas and then ask them to consult a proper doctor or any one of us. It is not that we are asking them to come to us and not marketing and attracting them to us. We can give some general information about whatever they have asked and direct them to the proper doctors. So that is about patient care, because giving everything on internet, yes, teledentistry is there, but we cannot give 100% things there, because there may be some information what they are hiding to us, and it might lead to some complications. So that way, we need to take care of patient care aspect in social media as well. And then coming to patient's privacy, as I said that, yes, there is lots of privacy issues when it comes to social media. So better to have consent, better to take their permission before posting anything about patient in social media. And also, if you have any frustrations or if you have any dislikes about any patients, it is better not to post in social media, because that is not the way or not the platform to do that. And then coming to personal privacy. Personal privacy, I have already mentioned regarding having different accounts, but it's also about the uh, persons working in your practice or persons around you. We cannot post something about our assistant or something like that. Something funny is happening that might attract, that might gain some engagement to your page or post, but without their consent, again, that there is also some privacy issues with the persons working there. So that is also very important. And then coming to professional ethics. Professional ethics in the sense, social media or any websites cannot be used for any sort of marketing purpose. We cannot use this to attract patients to us. We cannot give any discounts. We cannot promote any brands. We cannot endorse any brands. So all those things, whatever is mentioned in the code of ethics, needs to be followed to its highest reputation and follow the professional ethics, because that is where we gain more value in the society when we have the professional ethics. So that is very important while using social media. And then coming to self identification. Yes, self identification, what I mean to say is that we need to have social media presence in this current era. Yes, we need to have a social identification, social media online reputation, post our credible information there, and be relevant to the time. So that is how we need to be having a self identification using online platforms like social medias. So these are the 8 mantras that we can keep in mind while we are using social network for our practice. So to conclude, when these social medias are used wisely and prudently, social media sites and platforms, they are potential to promote individual and public health as well as professional development and advancement. So it has good things there. However, if it is used carelessly, then there is danger that these technologies can pose healthcare professionals to a bad end. So to avoid any pitfalls, it is better that we adhere to the rules and ethics and follow a right way of using it. So yeah, this is the time for me to conclude my talk. I hope you all enjoyed it. So now we are in lockdown, we are sitting inside, so this is the best time for us to rest, refocus and readjust and do it as many as time possible. And when we get back to work, we can go back with full energy and enthusiasm and do our best for our profession and the patients as well. So let the brighter and prosperous time come to all of us very soon, waiting for it soon. So stay safe, take care, keep everyone informed, and then yes, take care of yourself. Thank you. Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu.
Thank you, Dr. Ashwin, for the lovely session. I now request you to kindly stop your screen share.
Okay. Yeah.
Hi, friends.
Yeah.
I would quickly like to take you through dentistchannel.online and as to what we are and who do we help and who do we cater to. So as you know, dentistchannel.online or DCO, we are a digital dental media company and a promotion company, and we cater exclusively to the dental fraternity. We've had the opportunity in the last year to cater to some of the biggest dental events, dental congresses, dental symposiums, dental trade shows around India and across the globe. We can help you too in handling your social media profiles and giving you a social media management related services. We can help you to promote your dental workshops. We can help you to promote your dental trade shows, or if you're having any events lined up with regards to dentistry only. We do conduct live webinars with certification on a regular basis. We can conduct a live webinar wherein you would be one of the speakers. We would love to have you as a speaker as well. We regularly conduct dental courses. We get expert dentists from all over the globe on our board to conduct dental courses. And also we do a lot of other things as well with regards to digital marketing, dental media promotions, etc. And the one thing that we keep in mind is the code of ethics. As Dr. Ashwin has rightly said, that the code of ethics is a very important thing as far as marketing, anything related to healthcare is concerned. So keeping that in mind, you can get in touch with us. We would always love to help you. We would always love to help you to grow in this field. We know your audience, we know your target audience, we know how best to market you, your dental clinic, definitely keeping in mind the code of ethics and all the ethics which come along with it. So you can get in touch with us. That's my colleague, Mr. Abu Bakar Siddiqui. He handles the business development part of dentistchannel.online Private Limited. You can get in touch with him on his mobile number. He's available on WhatsApp. You can also get in touch with him on his email ID. If you have any other doubts, suggestions with regards to anything that we do, or if you wish to promote anything, any aspect of dentistry, you can always look up to dentistchannel.online. Thank you so much. We are now open to the live question answer session with Dr. Ashwin. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Dr. Ashwin, in the next 2 minutes, we start with the live interactive question and answer session.
Yeah. So,
Dr. Ashwin, we are good to go. Starting with the first question, we have a question from Dr. Jagwani Lavina. She says, everyone has their own knowledge and skills to post anything in social media about our field. But then also, can you please suggest any page or person whom we can follow for postings?
Yeah, definitely. With relate to oral health, yes, you have Indian Dental Association from which is a very credible source from India. So they also keep posting some credible sources, and anything related to health, you can follow WHO. So then you have CDC. Then you have all the international health organizations, all the main health organizations. They keep posting good things. As I said, Mayo Clinic, it's also post something good about health, general health. Related to oral health, yes, maybe there may be some, in India, Government of India has launched a national health portal. So it has a very beautiful Facebook page. So there also they keep posting about tobacco cessation and other things, and even oral health they keep promoting. So you have many things to follow in the internet, in the social media. You can just search with some key terms, and you might find some genuine pages like that. So you have, for example, as I mentioned, you can follow all the credible associations whatever we have, because they all have a social media page and they keep posting about updates. That is one thing.
Thank you for answering to the question, Doctor. We're moving to the next question. We have a question from Dr. Tanveer from Dubai, UAE. He's asking, he's saying that he's been practicing dentistry for quite some time now. He also has good number of patients, I believe, coming into his clinic. But because of his busy schedule, he's not able to keep his patients engaged. And also he's not able to keep in touch or be particular with social media. He's asking, is there a dental media or someone like Dentist Channel who can help him to keep up to date his social media profiles?
Yes. That is 100% possible. If you are very busy with your practice and if you are not able to keep up in engagement under your guidance, that is very important. Under your guidance, you can definitely have people like Dentist Channel Online or any other freelancers who are seeking things. You can go to LinkedIn, you can go to Google and search for them. But importantly, now Dentist Channel Online is coming up with a thing to help the dentist to be online. So they will go with strict ethics. They'll follow the whatever rules that has to be followed as per your country. Maybe in UAE you have a different regulation. In India we have different regulations. There is different regulations in Germany, UK, and everywhere. So in particular, being complying with the particular country, whatever the regulation is there, definitely you can find people. You can find freelancers or the creative content experts and take the help. And under your guidance, you can definitely keep your pages and patients engaged. That is possible, and that is the right way to do also.
Thank you for answering to the question, Doctor. We are moving with the next question. We have a question from Dr. Megha Rao. She says, do I need consent from patient to post pictures of a patient's teeth? What if it doesn't involve the face?
Yes, you can post, but it is always better to take a consent when you post something related to patient, because it's patient data. So we don't have 100% right to do that. So it is, I would say, better to go with the rules. You take the permission. You can just have a word. Even a verbal consent is fine, but ideally you need to have, ideally going with the rules, yes, you need to have an informed consent. But If not, if it is not very practical, I would say yes, even verbal consent would do in such cases.
Thank you for answering to the question. We have someone called Dr. Siri who would like to ask you a question over voice. Over to you,
Okay.
Dr. Siri.
Yes, please. Hello.
Panelists, you can now assign Dr. Siri to ask the question over voice.
Uh, Siri is not available now. I think she's left.
Okay, fine. Thank you so much. We
Yeah,
move to the next question.
She's back. She's back. Just I'll allow her to talk.
Okay.
Yeah, Siri can ask the question.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
doctor,
yeah, I can
please
hear you.
proceed.
Welcome, welcome, Dr. Siri.
Okay. Congratulations, Dr. Ashwin, for this wonderful webinar, and also I congratulate Dentist Channel Online for conducting this.
Yeah,
So
thank
my
you very
question
much.
is, how do you think? Yeah. So my question is, how do you think word of mouth, the traditional way of patient engagement, and through social media or web presence matters in this current scenario?
I appreciate for this question. This is a very good question that you have asked, Dr. Siri, because there is nothing compared to direct patient communication. So that I would say I would call it as gold standard, because direct communication with the patient is the first thing you do when a patient comes to your clinic or practice. So that way, yes, there is no substitute for that. But after doing a proper patient communication, after building a rapport with them, to have them engaged with you for a continuous period of time, because dental treatment is not about 1 day or 2 day, right? It will go for some period. So we need to maintain them. That is where social media comes into picture, or social media helps as an ornament. I can say it enhances your practice. It gives a more credibility. It gives you better visibility. It enhances. Basically, it gives a boost to your practice. So I would say there is nothing compared to direct patient communication. But in addition, in this current era, it is very relevant for us to have a social media presence, so that we stay relevant and we stay in the current time. So both are important. So we need to give equal importance to both in the current time, I would believe.
Okay, thank you, doctor.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the wonderful question. Hello.
Dr. Ashwin, we are moving to the next question.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a question from an anonymous attendee. He says
Yeah.
you had quoted saying that the engagement of people on social media is maximum on Thursdays and Fridays.
Yeah.
Is this the trend pertaining to the world all over or specific to India? Further, do you believe that this trend will change in the years to come? Please do share the details of this particular thing that I've asked you. Thank you.
Yeah. Very good question. The thing is that this finding is a general finding. They have done a survey all over the world, and they have finally come to this. Some have said Thursday and Friday, some have said Sunday and Saturdays. But what you can do is you can have a customized thing. When you run a page, there is a section called as Insights. May it be Instagram, may it be Facebook. In Facebook, it is much more clear. So you have an insight section. You can go there for your individual post. For your individual post, you have lots of insight information what Facebook gives you. It tells you what time of the day did the most number of people saw your page, most number of people engaged with you. So everything, every inside data comes to your particular post or page. So what I would say is follow the general guideline, follow the general trend, what is happening, but do keep have an eye on the insights section in your page, so that you can see what works better for you. Because we can give a general guideline, but it's not entirely. I cannot 100% assure that this is true. Sometimes your audience may be engaging on different days. So that is why this is a general guideline. You can always go back to the insight section in your Facebook page. You can just explore in the menu. You have an insight section. You can check how many likes, how many comments, and what part of the day, what time of the day, everything can be done. Even the time of the day sometimes matters. So there is some peak hours for putting in social media. So all those things can be customized. You can just see how it works better for you, and then you can go ahead with it. I hope that cleared the question.
Thank you for answering to the question, Doctor. Before we move forward, I'd like to take this opportunity to tell you that we have a bouquet full of messages which say that it was a very informative session. It was very trendy.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the presentation. Yeah. Thank you for the informative session. Once again, thank you so much. So I'm sure the presentation was very resourceful and informative. And now move with the next question. It's a question from Dr. Sushant Bhatt. He says, how safe is the social media in relation to a patient's photograph, operating videos, etc.?
Yeah, that's what you need to have a privacy setting proper when you are posting something related to patient. If you have a proper consent, then it is not going to make any difference, because if you go to YouTube and search for some videos, yes, there are videos uploaded, but they would have taken proper consent from the patient to post that. So if you have all your legal issues correct, what if you have followed all your ethical rules and regulations properly, I don't think there should be any problem in posting that. Because what patients can do is they can just watch and be informed. Other than that, with that video, they cannot do anything else, right? So that is meant for educational purpose. So that would stay there. So I think with having proper consent, that should not make any difference.
Thank you for answering to the question. We're moving with the next question. We have a question from Dr. Reshma, who says, I believe LinkedIn will not really help in creating awareness among the public, as most of the general public may not be in LinkedIn. Only professionals are there in LinkedIn. What is your take on this?
Yeah, that's what I said, because not all LinkedIn is not for all your patients. LinkedIn is for a particular group of patients. What I meant to say with LinkedIn is having a professional account in LinkedIn will give you one online platform. It might help for the search engines to list you in the Google page. If someone goes back and searches for Dr. So and so, if you have a presence in LinkedIn, that might pop up. So if someone clicks that, they'll get to know all your qualifications and accomplishments. So that way, LinkedIn can help a doctor to stay credible and relevant. They can feel that, yes, the doctor has done so many work. So they might build a trust seeing our accomplishments. That is also one factor. So that is where LinkedIn helps. Raising awareness, I'm not very sure how it will help. It might help because these days many professionals are engaged in LinkedIn. Even there you can post photos and videos. But maybe the trend will change over coming days, because LinkedIn was not very popular in the before, but it is very popular now. So that way, maybe the trend will change when LinkedIn can also be used to raise awareness. Even these days, it is used. Many companies post their campaigns. Everyone does that. So even there is engagement in LinkedIn. It is not that it is not there. It is there. But yes, for a doctor, definitely it is going to help to increase the professional credibility. Hello. Hello. Ruben, hello. Hello.
Please wait.
Hello.
Hello. Yes. Thank you for answering to the question, Doctor. We are moving with the next question. We have a person called Dr. Maria who would like to ask you a question live. Over to you, Dr. Maria.
Yeah.
Dr. Maria, you may please proceed in asking your question.
I think some technical reason this question.
Thank you. We move with the next question. We have a question from an anonymous attendee who's asking, which is better platform? Is it Facebook or Instagram?
Yes, Facebook has more users. As I said before, Indians are more in Facebook compared to Instagram. But Instagram is definitely a very good platform if your target audience is the youth. If you're targeting your patients anything between around the 20s or within 30s, definitely Instagram is also a better way, because Instagram also has very attractive features where you can post good things. So that is where it comes to the difference. What is your target audience? So based on that, you can choose the platform. But I would suggest have an parallel accounts in all these so that you target everyone. There's a blanket cover there. So if you're present in all these relevant social media for the day, yes, you have a blanket cover. A person with old age also might see you, or a person with a younger age also might see you. So there are equal chances. So that way you can stay safe.
Thank you for answering to the question. We are moving with the next question. We have a question from Dr. Mohammed Ibrahim from Saudi Arabia. He's asking, I would like to know, can someone manage my social media profile accounts from Mumbai, India?
Yeah, that's a technical question. Yes, it's possible, because if they hire someone from if they basically, it's called as outsourcing, right? So outsourcing is you are asking someone else to do that work for you. So yes, it's possible. But they have to find the right agency and persons for that. Yes, it is possible, because in online, yeah, we are conducting a session pan India. Maybe some you are watching from Dubai also. So yes, definitely we can do that with the internet. It's possible.
Thank you. We move with the next question. It's from an anonymous attendee who's asking, as a postgraduate student, should I start building my social media presence now or once I start with my private practice?
Yes, what I would say is, I'm not boasting myself. Please don't think like that. From my first year BDS, I have been building a social media page. It's called as For a Happy Smile. You can go and search it in Facebook. So I had created an account, but in between, due to the academic things and other things, I could not follow it much. But I have a base of around 1,000 likes and 1,000 followers for the page. So you can definitely do it from now, because you can have a page, may not be in your name as such. You can take another name, something related to oral health. You can keep sharing and keep posting your things, because people around you, people in your contacts will definitely feel better when they see a known person doing this. So you can have a presence. There is no harm in that. Yes, definitely you can start doing that.
Thank you. We are moving to the next question. We have a question which says, with the increased use of social media, few patients are seeking diagnosis through WhatsApp and they expect to be treated online with some medicines. How to deal with such patients?
See, if someone is contacting through WhatsApp, yes, if we think in line of teledentistry, as per the current guidelines for the pandemic situation now, yes, we are set to do that. Okay, maybe some basic treatment or basic thing what we can give. But if they're expecting more online, it would be a better no, because we never know their conditions. We have not examined them physically. We don't know their history properly. So it is not advised to do 100% of the things online. You can give a general idea and then you can stop. If the person is insisting too much, then you can say that from my side, I can do this. But beyond that, it is not right from my part to go ahead, because it is not safe for you also. So that way, we should not engage in an offending manner, but we should somehow go very diplomatically and handle it. It lies on us based on the situation. It will go up on the situation. We cannot have a what to say. We cannot have a standard rule for that. We should do it according to the situation. We should handle according to the situation. But personally, I would say don't do 100% of the things online.
Thank you. We move with the next question. We have a question from Dr. Akshita HM, who's asking, do we need patient's consent in regard to radiographs?
Yes, if you post a radiograph, maybe a patient may not be able to identify that it is his. But I would say, why break the rules? Follow that. You just ask a consent whenever you are sending the patient, taking the patient. You just inform them that I have this so and so radiograph. Maybe for educational purpose or something, some research purposes, academic purposes, I might use this to post in social media. Is it okay? What is harm in asking them and doing that? We can do that. I personally feel it is better to ask and do than randomly doing and getting into trouble. Why invite a trouble for us?
Thank you. We're moving with the next question. We have a question from Dr. Prashant from Hyderabad, who's asking, I have been making videos and blogs Is it ethical to make oral hygiene videos and promote for oral hygiene in my region?
You can make videos. You can make videos for the purpose of education and promoting oral health and raising awareness. Anything scientifically done, anything told based on the basis of scientific established facts and figures, that can be done. You can use that, but you cannot anywhere in the video. You cannot direct at the end. You should not direct that I am an expert. Yes, if you want these things, you can come to my clinic. Such soliciting is not allowed. According to Dental Council of India, soliciting is not allowed. So if you're doing some awareness videos, you can say who you are. You can say your credible qualifications. You can just say that I am so and so. I have done this. I'm a professional. You can say that, but nowhere you can boast yourself that you are an expertise. That is what a dental council says. You cannot boast yourself. You can just say what is that. You can raise awareness. Yes, it is very much doable, but you should keep in mind that you can go through the code of ethics once. It clearly says, so you should not boast yourself. You should not direct patient to yourself saying that you are an expert or you have some better facilities. Some words like better, best, I guarantee, all these things are not allowed in advertising. It is considered as unethical as per Dental Council of India. So taking care of these things by complying to the rules, definitely you can use social media, videos and other things to educate. That is possible.
Thank you for answering the question. We are moving with the next question. We have a question from Dr. Abhishek Lametswal, who's asking, how do we avoid or tackle a third party use information and photographs of our or my patients?
Yeah, this is definitely a good concern. Yes, when we post in social media, definitely people can download it. I don't think we can avoid people downloading it, but when you're posting some photos like that, if you feel it is very important or something like that, maybe you can make some watermarks. I think that is possible. From technical end, I think Ruben and Siddiq, I think that is possible, right? You can put some watermarks for your photos and your post, so that even if people are using it, it is visible that it is someone else's. So that is one way what I can think of avoiding that. I don't think we can 100% avoid someone using that. Maybe if it is from a website or something, I think that can be avoided. From website, there are certain websites where you cannot copy the data, you cannot download something. That is possible in website, but in social media, I think you can people might use it, because even screenshots are there. Even if it's not downloadable, people might take screenshots. So I would say from my end, as far as my knowledge, you can put a watermark in some places of your photographs which cannot be edited. So that is one smart way I feel.
Thank you.
If I'm right, Ruben. Yeah.
Thank you so much. We're moving to the next question. We have a question which says, what's the SEO method which you had discussed in your presentation?
Yeah, SEO method is search engine optimization. That means there are some keywords, like you can think how the patient will think, how a common man will think when he searches something on something about if it is implant. How you yourself, how do you search something in Google? What do you type for some procedure? How you think what is implant? So there are some keywords where patients think, they use it in while searching. So that is where your search engine optimization works. Means you should use some similar words in a repeated way in your article, so that search engine finds your article and finds it more relevant. So it will go based on that algorithm. And I'm not an SEO expert, so I just know the basic details. But if you want more details on SEO, you can definitely contact Mr. Siddiq from Dentist Channel Online, because they are into SEO and other things. So definitely they can guide you with that. I'm not an SEO expert, but the general knowledge, general basic thing, how it works is, you should think how the person thinks, how a common man will think when he searches some lay terms. So those few terms should be repeatedly used in your paragraphs and other things by making it relevant. It's not just using it like that. You should form sentences or form things in a very simple way, because whatever we write and read, it should be readable. If you post some article with 1,000 words, people may not read it full. They may end it with half. So there are some techniques. You can always go for SEO courses and other things. There are many SEO tools. This is only about posting. Even if you go for some international publications, the journals say use SEO. The journals, the international journals, they say write your article, prepare your article by keeping in mind about search engine optimization, because even they want their journal and the papers to be appeared first. So even journal says that. So it is scientific also. So it is not illegal to. I saw one question from Dr. Megharao, that is SEO legal? Yes, it is legal, but you use it in a right way, because it can be used in a scientific way. It is a scientific method to get engagement. That is proper. I don't think there's any problem with that.
Thank you. Any more questions? Okay, we have a question. How can someone get in touch with the speaker?
Okay, is there any possibility to put my email ID here? Yeah, I think I can do that. I'm sharing the screen, and there's a whiteboard option here. So there is text. So I'm typing my email ID. If it is possible, you can note down, or as I say, you can note down. Is PSBHATASHWIN, PS but Ashwin at gmail.com, or you can find me in social media also. I'm there in Facebook, LinkedIn, or ResearchGate, or yes, you can search for Ashwin PS but in Facebook. Is it visible for everyone? I am not very sure.
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, friends. With this, we come to an end of this lovely interactive session. Thank you so much, Dr. Ashwin, for the lovely interactive session. Quite a few attendees would like to have one more session on the same topic.
Okay.
So if everything goes well, maybe we could have a session on the same topic, but of course, discussing on various aspects.
Yeah, definitely we'll plan some other sessions, and we can plan that. Yes, I'm very much overwhelmed that people are asking for that. Thank you so much to everyone. It was very nice to meet you all during this time. I hope I made some sense, and I made some justice for your time. So thank you for your patient listening and staying with us. Thank you so much to Dentist Channel Online for giving me this platform and to discuss these issues. So I once again thank you all. Thanks to Melvin, thanks to Siddiq, thanks to Ruben from Dentist Channel Online for organizing this. It was really a good initiative. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ashwin. Friends, you can follow us on our social media handles to get updates on the latest digital technological advancements from the world of dentistry, and also to get first-hand information on what's happening around the globe when it comes to dentistry. You can also follow us for the upcoming live webinar sessions that we would be hosting soon. We have a bouquet of webinars ranging from implantology to endodontics to cosmetics to each and every topic in the dental field. Keep yourself updated with dentistchannel.online. Thank you, and may you all have a good day. Goodbye.
Yeah, bye. Thank you all. Siddiq, fine, right? Done.
Thank you, Ashwin.
Yeah, thank you, Siddiq.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.